Hello folks, this is Gabe at Security Baron, and I really want a home security system that is affordable, but that I can trust. And I've been told that Lifeshield fits the bill. Let's check it out. If you'd like to see a list of our favorite home security systems, Google Security Baron Best Home Security Systems. If you have a question about today's review, leave a comment below and I'll get back to you. In today's review of the Lifeshield home security system, I'll go over how easy it was to install, how convenient it is to maintain, the customer support, professional monitoring, and the app. So for the Lifeshield home security system, I purchased the Security Advantage package. And that comes with a base station, a keypad, a wireless security tablet, motion detector, fire sensor, door and window sensors, indoor cameras, and just for the heck of it, I added an outdoor camera. So let's start with maybe the principal piece, the base station. Now, the base station basically looks like a slightly larger Nintendo Wii. It's all white. There's not much to it. There's a light in the front to let you know whether or not you're connected. There are various ports in the back to connect your Ethernet cable and your power adapter. What this does is kind of serves as your command center, ensuring that everything is connected and talking to one another for your security system apparatus. So let's talk about the wireless security tablet, which they outsource to a third-party maker, Asus. I actually really like Asus products. I even have an Asus computer along with a few other little technological elements. The Asus tablet basically goes around with you. It allows you to control the entire system. It does come with a stand, so you can place it on a stand, but it's not something to be placed on a wall. The Security Advantage package also comes with a keypad. The keypad comes basically in white with a few gray buttons. You've got a really easy way of managing your system with the numeric keypad and just the buttons to let you say that you're either arming it because you're away, arming the door window sensors because you're home, or just completely disarming the system altogether. And that's all done from the wireless keypad that can be placed near where you come in and out of your home. A very important part of the Security Advantage package from Lifeshield are, of course, the window and door sensors. These come in the typical white that we've seen across the board for these sensors. They work with magnets to let you know whether or not a door or window has been opened. So once they get apart a certain amount, they're going to alert your base station, and then your base station will, of course, alert you, and if necessary, alert the proper authorities. So the Lifeshield Security Advantage package also comes with 2 motion detectors. Now, theirs is pretty typical in terms of it's white, made out of plastic. You're going to put it up in the corner of your room so you can get as much information as possible. A fine distinction that we'd like to make between the Lifeshield motion sensor and other motion sensors from other home security systems is simply that this device cannot distinguish between humans and animals. So if a rover is running back and forth all day, it's not going to know that that's what's happening, and you're going to get a notification for each time. There's no way for it to distinguish. Some intruders may not be courteous enough to open a door or open your window. They may decide to smash right through. And here you've got a Honeywell-made glass break frequency sensor that comes a part of the Security Advantage package by Lifeshield. So, it's your classic white. It's listening here. This is the microphone. It's listening for that frequency of glass breaking. So you'll know if someone's trying to get into the home. Just make sure it's in proximity to your windows. So the Lifeshield Security Advantage package also comes with the keychain remote. Now, the keychain remote is not push to start like on a car, but rather push to arm or push to disarm your system. It's made out of plastic, got gray and white. I think my only concern is that the panic button is directly in the middle, and I'm deathly afraid that I am simply going to hit that button instead of one of the other buttons whenever I want to do something on this keychain remote. But otherwise, pretty straightforward. Now, why do you get a camera with these systems if you've already got motion detector and window sensors? Well, why do you wear a hat when you go outside in a blizzard? Yeah, you can technically get away with it, but no one would recommend it. because having the indoor camera and the outdoor camera really gives you a full experience. So you're not just alerted to what's happening, but you can actually see it in real time. So before I jump into the security bearing necessary features test to give us a quick rundown of how well these cameras perform, I want to talk a bit about each design respectively. Now, the indoor camera for the Lifeshield home security system looks like a mini Game Boy. It has a mostly black glossy face with a beige exterior made out of plastic, and it does have a protruding lens and a little bulb here on the bottom. And it does have some flexibility and mobility when it comes to mounting, and the mount allows you to move it in different directions. You can eventually set it up with a Wi-Fi password, but you initially plug it in with the Ethernet. Then you have this power adapter here, and then just your Wi-Fi information, your reset button, and all of that. Now, I will note that there is a local storage slot here on the indoor camera. It's just, not my favorite design when we're talking about aesthetics. But let's move on to the outdoor camera. Now, the outdoor camera also not really blowing anyone away in terms of how it looks, but it does have a white and black face, and the lens is actually flush with the rest of the camera. The back of it is metal, and the Ethernet and power adapter are both covered by this plastic piece, I guess, to make it weatherproof, but it just kind of gives it just like an ugly aesthetic. So it's not really my favorite in that sense, but let's talk about how well they function. Whoa, let's take a quick break. Each month at Security Bear, we like to hook up our subscribers with a little something in the form of a $200 Amazon gift card. So the rules for entry are simple. Just subscribe to our page, leave us a comment, and you'll be entered to win. Now let's get back to the video. Let's jump into these security bearing necessary features as they pertain to the indoor and outdoor cameras. Well, you only get 720p on both of these cameras, and we like to see 1080 on cameras that we review, and so that's very disappointing. On top of that, it's only a 57.8 degree field of view, so we're really not going to capture very much in any given space. So of course, with the Security Advantage package, we got 2 cameras, and we feel like that has to be the case because you need 2 cameras to capture just one room. So we like to see two-way audio on our indoor and outdoor security cameras. It's very useful to be able to yell at or speak to someone in your home and listen to what they have to say back, and neither of these cameras will allow you to do that. At Security Bear, we put a lot of significance on night vision. Night vision is very important, and they really come through here from Lifeshield. They have 8 infrared LED lights on the cameras so you can see whatever's taking place. And it's important to know what's happening at night. Did you know that half of all days are night? An important security bearing necessary feature is local and cloud storage. Now, the indoor camera clearly has local storage along with cloud storage because we have a micro SD slot. So we know that we can put in our little card and hold on to whatever memories might have been made. When it comes to smart platform integration, a security bearing necessary feature, neither of these cameras has any type of integration, which is strange because the security system as a whole does integrate with Amazon Alexa. So we were a little disappointed with the fact that there are no integrations for the camera themselves. Like smart platform integration and like the motion detector, there is no person detection or pet detection on these cameras. So when it comes to the security bearing necessary feature of artificial intelligence, you're not going to find anything with the Lifeshield home security cameras. Now, the Security Advantage package comes with the fire safety sensor. Now, we all have fire detectors in our homes that beep and kind of let you know when you've been burning any of your food. However, the fire safety sensor is constantly monitoring for smoke and high CO2 levels. And not only will they alert your base station, which will then alert you, but they can also alert the proper authorities through the professional monitoring and send them to your location. In terms of what it looks like, it's just kind of like a white hockey puck with a few pieces at the top for sensors, and it has a little light. So you're kind of ready to go right out of the box with the fire safety sensor by Lifeshield. So now that we've seen everything that comes with the Security Advantage package from Lifeshield, let's talk about how it was for us to set all of it up and how easy it's been to maintain. So with a lot of these systems, you have to go through this process while on the phone with the representative. And that was not the case with Lifeshield, and I don't think I really suffered from it. Now, I will admit that it was a little daunting when I first looked at all the pieces that I had, and I was just kind of like, like putting this whole thing together is just gonna be quite a trip. But it actually wasn't that bad once I got started. So I started out, as I do with most of these systems, with the base station. So I plugged in the power adapter and the Ethernet cable. Now this Ethernet cable actually became a bit of an issue because I had to plug it in for so many components of this system. I actually had to go out and get a bigger hub for all those Ethernet cables. The second thing that I set up was the wireless security tablet, which already basically comes attached and coordinated with the Lifeshield base system. So it wasn't that complicated of a process. I just had to make sure that it was plugged in and ready to go. The next part of the process was setting up the cameras. Now, setting up these cameras wasn't particularly difficult, but it did require me to go through and plug in each power adapter and each camera's respective Ethernet adapter into my router hub. Then I went on to setting up the entry keypad. And the entry keypad wasn't particularly difficult. I just had to make sure that I had the right power adapter placed into the keypad, and I placed that flat on my table. The door and window sensors for the Lifeshield home security system are pretty standard. They're even white like I'm used to, it's pretty typical. I will note that the larger piece is a little bit longer and maybe even a little bit skinnier than some of the other pieces from other home security systems, but they work in the same manner. There's a magnet that knows whether or not they're close to each other, and once you place the larger piece on the frame and the smaller piece on the actual door or window, you'll note when someone is opening or closing the door from that magnet telling the base hub that they've been separated. So very straightforward, and I was able to do it in like 3 minutes. After setting up my door and window sensors, I moved on to the glass break frequency sensor. This is made by Honeywell, and you can either mount it or just place it near the windows that may be broken. It just has to be proximate to them in order to hear that frequency of the glass breaking and alert the base hub that something is going on. Setting up the Lifeshield motion detector is pretty straightforward. You're gonna wanna go ahead and place it about 7 feet high in a corner so that it can capture as much as possible. And remember that this motion detector is not capable of distinguishing between humans and pets. So if you're lucky, you can get it high enough that it won't see any of the dogs or cats, and that's a way you can prevent it from constantly going off. You'll want to go ahead and place your Lifeshield fire safety sensor near wherever you now have your smoke alarm, smoke detector. There's an adhesive on the back from 3M, which is a company I love. Makes the whole process much simpler. And this is how you set up your Lifeshield fire safety sensor. And once you set it up, there's really not much else to think about. As always, I want to talk about my favorite items that come with these home security systems: the yard sign and window decal. Just people knowing that your home is being protected by Lifeshield through this yard sign or this window decal can do a lot in terms of deterrence. So don't forget to set these up. So now we've gone over how you set up all these components whose ultimate job is to let you and the professional monitoring service know if something is going on, if there's an event, if there's an intruder, whatever is happening in your home ecosystem. So let's talk about the professional monitoring from the Lifeshield home security system. 24/7, you've got a team of experts at your disposal to help you deal with any potential events taking place in your home. Now, for Lifeshield, that also means a cellular connection as a backup in case your power line goes out or your landline goes out or your internet goes out, so that they can always be sure to receive the alert and dispatch the authorities to your location. So there are different options for the Lifeshield home security system when it comes to professional monitoring. Now, if you consider yourself a professional and you can give yourself 24/7 professional monitoring, you can do it yourself. Lifeshield does allow for that. But you're probably not awake 24/7, and you're going to go with the Security Essentials or Security Advantage package. So let's talk about Security Essentials and Security Advantage that don't differ too much. Now, Security Essentials is $29.99 a month. It comes with 24/7 professional monitoring and a backup cellular connection. Security Advantage throws in an extra motion sensor, an indoor camera, and storage. And that's the only distinction between the two, of course, with Security Advantage costing $10 more a month at $39.99. So now that we've discussed professional monitoring, let's talk about the contracts that get you involved with Lifeshield in the first place. So you have two options when it comes to Lifeshield contracts. One gives you a little bit more flexibility, but be a little bit more expensive, and one gives you a little bit less flexibility, but would be ultimately more affordable. The first option, the flexible option, is a month-to-month contract, and the other option is a 3-year contract. Now, if you decide to cancel your 3-year contract at any point, the amount you have to pay depends on how long you've already been in that contract. So you may have to pay 20% or 50% or 80%, depending on how long you've actually been with Lifeshield. So be sure, as always, to look at the fine print and to know what you're getting into when you sign either of the contracts with the Lifeshield home security system. Now, when going through your contract rules or talking about professional monitoring, you may eventually have to talk to customer support. And I know it's something none of us ever want to have to do, but let's talk about what that experience is like with the Lifeshield home security system. You can go online and check out their vast repository of information regarding questions you may have or problems you may be encountering. You can also chat with the representative online. And finally, you can just call them directly. Personally, we did not have the greatest experience with Lifeshield customer support. We often felt like we were getting the runaround, and it could be kind of difficult to answer what we perceived as pretty basic questions. However, our opinion is not the only one that matters. Let's talk about what other people have encountered with Lifeshield home security system. Lifeshield has only received 6 5-star reviews on Google, and 3 of those were stars with absolutely no written context. So it's kind of hard to know exactly what they meant. And one of those even said that they were interviewing for a customer service position, and we really hope that that was not part of the application process. So we looked for more information from the Better Business Bureau. They have received a rating of A+, which essentially means that they've not advertised falsely and generally complied with all the elements required of them by the government. So now they have the A+ rating related to these objective factors from the Better Business Bureau. However, they did not fare so well with their customers, receiving an average of a 1-star rating. I'll mention that most of these ratings for Lifeshield from the Better Business Bureau were not related to their customer support, but simply people saying that the system did not work. And that's something that you hate to see, especially at this level, and it did not seem as if Lifeshield had responded to these complaints. Ultimately, we were a little surprised to see all these complaints about the system not working, as we were able to get ours to work pretty easily. But you know, we had all the right conditions for making that happen here at Security Baron. Like everything else in the world these days, Lifeshield does have a mobile application to help you use its system. Before we jump into our experience with the mobile application on an iPhone, let's look at how Lifeshield fared in the App Store and the Google Play Store. Now, for iOS, the Lifeshield app received 3.9 out of 5 stars in the App Store, which is not the best, but I'll take it. It's not bad, and the majority of these reviews were 5 stars. Now, in the Google Play Store, Lifeshield received a 3.7 out of 5 star rating, which is not amazing, but probably better than how it's fared in its general Google reviews so far. Now that you see what others are thinking about the Lifeshield mobile application, let's take a look at our own impressions of the Lifeshield mobile app. So let's check out the Lifeshield home security mobile application on my iPhone 10. Now, of course, the most important element of any mobile application is the capacity to arm it easily. So if you look at the very top of the screen, all the way through the center of the screen, you've got your system is disarmed, and let's say I wanted to arm it for stay. So I tap on the middle button, stay, and of course I get that your window is open. I do have a window open here right now. and I can bypass that by clicking on bypass at the bottom. So I hit bypass, type in my code, and now I've disarmed the system. Now, before I go into my cam reviews, on the top right corner, you see where it says settings with that gear. That icon always means settings. I click there and I can look at the various settings. Of course, I have to input my master code in order to access. And here I can look at various things related to my username, password, and security question. I can go and look at my devices. So if you'll note, it has all of my cameras, my door, my fire safety, glass frequency, sensors, windows, all the way down to my base and keypad. I can look at various alerts, notifications, the monitoring in terms of emergency contacts, dispatching information with my address, and the app settings, which generally aren't that important to people unless you're trying to make sure you know you have the most recent update for Lifeshield. So if I dip below that, I can look at the cameras. Now, jumping into the cameras, you note that I have 3 currently set up in our security baron room. So let's just look at some of the options. So one, I can change the grid. So I'm looking at them initially as a 1, 2, 3. Now I can look at them all in a vertical manner, and I can switch it back. So these are the different options for looking at your cameras. With this, you also can look at the history. So the motion that sets them off will let you know, and that's really useful in terms of getting an understanding of what your cameras have seen in any day. Now, let's jump in to my first camera, which I now have fixated on me. Now, if you note, as soon as I touch it, 3 different icons pop up. One is simply play, and this will give me a live stream. The second one are clips, so I can look at the clips of the camera. And the final one gives me the widescreen option. So let's just cycle through those right now on the app. So here I am looking at the live view of the screen cap. Now, when I take it to full screen and go horizontal, there are different options. I can take a photo, an image capture, which you'll note happens in the bottom with the camera icon. Then I've got the recording option, which is beside that camera with the video camera icon. And then I have the record storage option, which is beside both of those. And so that's my saved media option. And so you'll note that I'm in it now, and I can look at various options that it's seen throughout the day just from the saved media. So I can select, delete anything, and that's basically all the functions you get in a camera. So let's just go and look at camera 2. Camera 2 I just have on the security baron living room, and that's just a live shot of the living room there. And I like that I can view all of these, go full screen, take pictures, record video, and look at saved media clips from every camera directly from the app. So I can go out of that. And I also have the second camera on another space, or rather the third camera on another space in the security baron room. I can once again take that full screen, see how that's doing, use these icons on the bottom denoting image capture or video capture, and it's just a useful thing to have in the Lifeshield app. So while the cameras don't allow for any panning or zooming, at the very least, you definitely have options for retaining the images that you do record. So definitely would prefer to be able to zoom or pan in a room, especially considering the limited field of view, but it's good to have the capability directly within the app. The Lifeshield home security system does link with Amazon Alexa, so you can search for your skills, type in Lifeshield, Lifeshield security, and I can enable them to work together. Now, when you type in Lifeshield security, the API shows up. I put in my username. You'll note that it says Lifeshield security has been successfully linked. Then I can just say something as easy as Alexa, ask Lifeshield to arm away.
You have Lifeshield security enabled.
So now I'm back on the landing page for the Lifeshield Home Security mobile application, and that's our look at all the things you can do inside the mobile app. So using the security tablet for the Lifeshield Home Security System, you'll note that I can do a lot of the things I can do within the mobile application right here on this large screen. So I can hit stay, and I have a window open in the house, so I can bypass that, put it in my code, and now it is going to start to go off. If I hit the code back in, I can turn it off. Now in the top right-hand corner, there's a panic button, and I can also go directly into settings, putting in my passcode, seeing my various options for all my security devices and sensors. Once again, you can see down here that the window is open. Got account settings, devices, users. I can add users. If I want to add my brother, for example, I type here. This is basically just allowing other people access to my system. Don't actually want to add him, so I go ahead. I can look at my various alerts, notifications, security settings, test my system, or even look at my various monitoring options. Now, going out of that, you'll note that I can go look directly at video for each of my cameras at any point to see what any of them are seeing. Now, if I go to the top, I can actually look at where my various sensors are and the devices. So my keypad has a low battery. I know that all my cameras are green, which means that they're functioning, along with my keychain. The red on the upper left-hand corner denotes that my window is open. And then I know that the rest of the pieces, my 2 motion sensors, my 2 glass break frequency sensors, my fire safety sensor, and my door are all functioning properly. So this is basically the breakdown of the Lifeshield Home Security app as it is located on the wireless security tablet. Here we are looking at the video quality on Lifeshield Home Security's indoor camera. Now, it actually isn't so bad considering it's only 720p. Of course, we love to see 1080, but just think a few years ago, 720 was fine. What we really are upset about is the 58-degree field of view, because we love to see at the very least 120-degree field of view so you can capture everything happening in a room. Now, with Lifeshield, you may want to go ahead and get another indoor camera just so that you can cover more angles, because you're just really not going to capture a lot with that narrow field of view. So this is what it looks like on the Lifeshield Home Security's indoor camera. Now we're checking out the night vision on the Lifeshield Home Security System's indoor camera, and it's pretty good. We've got 8 infrared LED lights that really allow us to capture whatever's going on in this room. And we can give a little globe test. Man, I'm getting really good at spinning this globe. And you can get a pretty good look at what's on the globe. We got Australia, and it's not bad. So that's our look at the night vision on Lifeshield's indoor security camera. Here's a look at the video quality on the Lifeshield Home Security System's outdoor camera. Now, very weak when it comes to field of view and definitely not the best quality, but considering it's about 4 feet away from me, you get a decent look at our globe test. So we didn't expect much considering the field of view and the lack of high definition video, but it's definitely manageable. So here's a look at the outdoor camera's night vision for the Lifeshield Home Security System. And honestly, it's pretty great. You've got 8 infrared LED lights, and it really shows up. You can see me pretty well, considering that it's not the best camera in day vision, but definitely makes up for it in a certain sense with how well it sees at night. Congratulations, you made it to the end of Security Brand's review of the Lifeshield Home Security System, and I know I've thrown a lot of information at you, so let me just summarize it here generally. If you need a top-of-the-line security camera and more than simply substandard customer support, you may want to look at another security system. However, if you would like Amazon Alexa integration and the flexibility of a month-to-month contract, then Lifeshield may catch your eye. So that's our look at the Lifeshield home security system. If you appreciated this video, give us a like and hit that subscribe button. As always, this is Gabe at Security Baron. Be secure.